evening. Good evening, everybody. Um, Sorry that I've been looking down at my phone, but I'm getting some things done. Um, Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to this special edition, English special edition of Proyecto Dignidad. This is your host, Juan Gabriel Sayas. In English, will be John Gabriel Sayas. I'm your candidate for prison number 2 of House of Representatives, State Legislative for Puerto Rico for Proyecto Dignidad Party. If I'm going to translate it, that literally will be Dignity Party. I don't know if it sounds the same, or Dignity Project. I don't know if it sounds the same, but that is the literal translation. But the main message there, or the slogan of the party, is that we all have dignity, and dignity is on you can't violate it. I even forgot how to say that. Inviolable or something like that. English is my second language, so any English speaking person are more than welcome to correct me anytime, at any moment, because I have nothing to be afraid in terms of my English skills. All I can say is that English is my second language, so there may be some things that you may understand, and there's some other things that you may not understand. So one way or the other, I'll be happy to clarify it as much as I can. And tonight is really special because not only I'm gonna do that for any English-speaking citizen voting in Puerto Rico at this moment. We're going to talk a little bit about our capital city and why I am part of this party and why I decided to go into this, to put myself running for this party and to seek a spot or a position at the state level as a house representative for the precinct 2, which is a prison I live in Puerto Rico. And my first comment is, my lovely wife who just sent me a kiss. So I can't kiss you back, baby, because I don't have the Facebook directly, but that's part of the process. First of all, there's a lot of stuff happening in the island. Of course, I'm going to try to give you an overview of what is the political scene right here in Puerto Rico, and some of the challenges that we are now facing. Some of the challenges that we need to evaluate facing this upcoming election in November 5th of 2024, this next November, which is almost 1 week away for this election. And this election is happening in different parts of the world. All eyes are going to be there. Our elections is on the same date and time of the U.S. federal election. Puerto Rico, as a U.S. territory, have decided on our own that we're going to have the elections on the same date of the federal government, of the U.S. federal government, and we pretty much have been doing so for more than 70 years, and there could be some difference, obviously, in the way that we have established our elections. We don't have separate elections like most in the states, in which they decided at a state level to do the elections in other times or in other year, different from separated from the federal government. And we also don't have the 2-year span like in the federal level, in which the House of Representatives, which is the part that represents democracy in the U.S. Constitution, is go to election every 2 years. We don't have that one. All the executive and the legislative and the municipal levels are going into election on the same date every 4 years. So with that in place, first of all, I have to excuse my co-host. Unfortunately, my colleague Antonio Santos, which is a candidate for our party, for Proyecto Dignidad party, for the precinct number one. Well, he's a worker, he's a manager in hospitality. He managed a hotel, and crazy thing happens. Actually, one of the things that is happening in Puerto Rico is that a lot of industry are short of staff, and that has a reason for it. And unfortunately for him, he has to cover that shift, and at the end he's the one responsible. And sometimes this guy, he works almost 24 hours in some moments, and it's as the time has passed, it has been more difficult for him to have a proper settled staff there in the hotel. And when this situation happened, he have to go and cover himself, uh, because at the end he's the ultimate responsible for anything that happened in the hotel, as some of you must know. And I had my time in the hotels. I know how it is. It's a really difficult job. Uh, it's a fun job actually, but it's very difficult because customer service require a lot of time demandings. And when this situation happens, it's kind of exactly what is happening in the hospital. When a colleague miss his or her shift, we are called to cover that shift, and sometimes that take a toll on us. It is kind of difficult to sometimes program, or even when you program, you have to throw everything away in order to cover your shift. So I apologize for that on behalf of my colleague and my brother in this party, who is running for prison number one, Antonio Santos, who wanted to be here. His wish was to be here, but I cannot put in words how much he apologized for not being here tonight with you guys, and to have this conversation, especially in English, because we are doing it for some, the population of English speaking people in Puerto Rico is not that significant as people voting. I can say that they're mostly not taken care of when politicians do their projections, and they're doing their analysis. Uh, I don't think I have never heard anything about like that for English speaking person. The only time these people are mentioned in the news or in any discussion is when, obviously, when something bad happened, or if they are rich people taking advantage, which we're going to talk about that too. Supposedly they're taking advantage, and trying to avoid taxes, which is a complete nonsense. um, and that's part of what we are experiencing here in Puerto Rico related to that. So with that in place, the first thing I want also to cover, because as I have stated in previous podcasts, I'm a Republican. I'm a supporter of the Republican Party as a conservative. That's the U.S. party that represents the values of conservative people. That's the party who are willing to defend Christian values for public policy. And of course, Donald Trump. If you have to take between the two candidates, the two current candidates, well, Donald Trump is the best candidate right now for president of the United States. Kamala Harris is a really bad choice for president. First of all, because she's a liar. That's bluntly, she's a liar. Like Joe Biden, a liar. Donald Trump is not a perfect guy. Certainly, I will not have him run certain stuff, but I will not take his advice on things in life. But for sure, everybody said, for example, Donald Trump is a racist, Donald Trump is a xenophobic, Donald Trump. Well, the only reason you are saying that is because somehow you believe what he actually not believing. You are actually hearing him talking about all these issues. You may not like what he said, you may not like the way he said it, but the truth is that he said how it goes in his mind. So by saying that, I do not approve the jokes made by this comedian in his rally. Of course, I have to say that I have not seen the whole thing. This is one of the main stuff when you are analyzing news. You have to see the whole context. I don't know what was the whole context. I don't know what this joke it was supposed to be about, but the joke was out of context, out of good taste. I like comedians. I know when comedians are doing good jokes and bad jokes, and you can tell, when comedians are being comedians. But this is a political rally. You need to make sure the way that you are doing your jokes in there, and you are there representing a party, and in this case a candidate. As far as I know, Donald Trump didn't apologize in his whole speech while he did, while he was doing the rally in New York. New York is best known for all the Puerto Ricans that has traveled there. There's a lot of Puerto Ricans have been, there's two, three, four generations already of Puerto Ricans in New York. Um, the impact in New York of Puerto Ricans have already been established. Uh, Puerto Ricans has been Puerto Ricans are going to be Puerto Rican citizens. Puerto Rican voters in the states, especially in Pennsylvania and in New York, are going to be a decisive vote. This is something that you can see because both candidates are reaching for that vote. Both candidates are talking to that people. So when you see a candidate doing that, specifically targeting that group of people, and especially in the case of the president of the United States, which, as you all know, this campaign has lots of money. So if they take a portion of that money to put it precisely, to send a message precisely to a demographic group of people, that Puerto Ricans are important in this election. And I didn't mention Florida. There's a lot of Puerto Rican in Florida watching all of this, so I'm sure something's gonna come up from the Trump campaign. Again, spoiler alert: I haven't seen it. I'm talking which what happened in the headlines. I was walking, I was knocking door, I was talking to people in the whole afternoon before coming here to do this show. So I haven't done any research, so I don't know exactly the context. I don't want to say that I know exactly what happened already today in New York, but the clip that I saw, the joke is really bad. It's a bad taste. It's uncanny. So I condemn completely. I do not consent that type of joke. Uh, Especially, I mean, if there is a street club or something and there's something different in there, who knows? Depending on the context, depending on what he's saying, maybe. But a political rally, when you are representative, you are there in a Trump rally, you need to make sure your jokes. Um, it was a really bad taste. I gotta say, it was a really bad taste. I I believe. I also know this type of events. The productions are, in every detail, looking for every detail. So if I'm sure the production has something to do with it. Have to say that there's something related to it, so they need to clarify all the stuff. And if it is what it is, then let it run. If that's what is believed, let it run. I'm still going to believe that, I'll take that joke on top of Kamala Harris' public policy against Christians, against family values, or not against, sorry, in favor of ideology, policies, in favor of the work agenda, in favor of globalism. Hello, Samuel. We're now talking in different language, but thank you for joining in. So, I'll take the joke on top of Kamala policies against all Christian values or conservative values, no doubt. And well, now that we're talking about the president of the United States, this is something to put Puerto Rico in perspective and what we're doing now. The people who are running in this election, there is something to take in account right here in Puerto Rico. The United States, doesn't matter who won the election, whether it's Trump or Harris, whoever wins the presidency, the next election, the United States is going through a really, really, really dangerous debt management situation as a country, as a global superpower. The situation in Israel and the situation happening there in Israel related to Hamas is now taking a whole other context. I know the attacks on Iran, it looks like something of a public relation. People are taking jokes in that. Is something serious. The attack on Lebanon, the fact that the Lebanon is going there, 1 year after the attacks, and this escalation of these actions that was supposed to be only to take on Hamas, now taking another countries is really serious. It's really serious. Potentially, when Syria is around there, Syria is a partner with Russia. Iran has been subsidized by the Chinese. All these contexts are really serious. And contrary to other world wars, the first World War, the Second World War, and the Cold War, with the situation happening there, is really serious. I'm coming in. Yeah, I'll give you the topics in a second, Samuel. But different to what happened in First World War, Second World War, and the Cold War, the debt situation management in the United States is really serious, and the U.S. is in no position to just simply go into putting resources to all this conflict in a big scale. In order to do that, they will have to get all the manufacturing back to the states, which is something they don't have now in the same mass production that they used to have before, because all those production are overseas. And this policy of offshoring manufacturing it doesn't look good. The United States still have the military power to go and to uphold the situation for a long time, but they don't have the luxury to go and just keep printing money. They will have to go back to work. So the debt management is a very serious issue in the United States right now. And if these situations keep escalating, Puerto Rico in that regard cannot keep relying on just federal monies and federal government funding to subsidize for all the programs. And that's basically one of the first problems that we had in Puerto Rico. So one of the topics for the English-speaking people is, who we are and what are we doing, what some of the challenges that are happening for English-speaking people in Puerto Rico. So some of the experience, comparing living in Puerto Rico through the states. So as of now, Puerto Rico are still in the middle of a debt restructuring, bankruptcy, legal procedures in the U.S. court, in the U.S. federal court. So just to put it into context, Puerto Rico has $13 billion in income in the last fiscal budget of 2023, and the expenses are about $22 billion. So we're still spending more that that the government is having in income. That's a big problem. All that money is not debt because Puerto Rico cannot issue debt since 2016. The last one was 2014, and it was part of the bankruptcy already put. And we are in with a fiscal board management, oversight management, that it was called Promesa, which is promise in Spanish. And the Promesa board, the oversight fiscal board, is handling the budgets. It's putting caps in the budget in Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico cannot keep relying. Puerto Rico is using U.S. dollar. They cannot print their own money. So therefore, there's only two ways to subsidize for government: is income tax or issuing debt. Without the debt part, the only way to issue the government, to funding the government, is through income tax. We cannot pay more income taxes in Puerto Rico. Otherwise, nobody's going to be working, and Puerto Rico as a state or territory or even a country is going to be gone, finished, nada, nothing. So, in order to do that, we need to put people back to work. We need to make sure people are getting back to work. So Puerto Rico now has 5 political parties running in this election. 2 of them has been switching the powers in government since 1968. And in the last 20 years, this new century, the party whose majority has been majority of the time in power is a party whose ideologically they are in favor of statehood. They want Puerto Rico to be part of the state as a 51st state. And in Puerto Rico, the statehood sympathizer has been growing through the years. And that's one of the main reasons why this party has been in power. Another reason is that this party was the party that this was the party, the party who favored statehood. This was the party who also defends most of the conservative values and the values of small government and small income taxes. Unfortunately, that representation has not been put in place under governments in all those years, especially in all those 20 years. I will say 30 years because this thing happened 30 years ago, but especially in the last 20 years. And Puerto Rico got into debt because of the massive spending that we did in all those years. And as happening in any entity, government or private, if you spend more than what you generate, you're gonna go into bankruptcy. So why I decided to run for a position in the House of Representatives? Well, first of all, we cannot pay more income taxes, and then either if you go by being a professional, by contract service, or if you try to establish a business on your own, it's really hard in Puerto Rico to do business. And it's really hard because there is a lot of regulation, there is a lot of bureaucracy that the government asks you to put in place your business. And for English-speaking citizens in Puerto Rico, that has been a problem. That has been a big problem. Some of the English-speaking people who come to Puerto Rico, they come because they are, they get a good job or they got a business and they are in partnership with the government. But even those people who rely on government to get their own business running, they also get tired of it. Another reason why we have a English-speaking population is because the federal governments, they have their courts and they have their office here. We have English-speaking people coming from the state that are coming to Puerto Rico to work, and those people are also here. There is always the fact that the military was present in Puerto Rico for the majority of these 130 years of relationship with the U.S. military bases, even though they are diminished. We still have a big component I mean, not a big component. We have a component of military people who stay in Puerto Rico, and those English speaking people go to vote. Register here, and they vote. In the last 10 years, around 12 years, we have a special tax incentive law that have allowed foreign entities or foreign business people to come to Puerto Rico and get a special tax percentage to pay, instead of paying the IRS the regular 20%. In Puerto Rico, they pay 4% for operational expenses, and they have a special tax rate of zero gains in capital gains. Sorry, 0% in capital gains for 20 years. So some of those people have come to Puerto Rico in the last 12 years, but contrary to what the press has saying, they're not a lot, not even 1% of those people. Even though they're not 1% of those people, because I don't know, it's like 2,500 people in Puerto Rico coming with those. Those people still pay about $250 million in taxes. Just to give you an example, 21% of the whole labor force that is divided in in these three areas, in health, education, and security. Those three industry, those three fields, people who works in those three fields, which is about 250,000 people in Puerto Rico, they pay around $600 million in taxes, and only 2,500 people, almost 1% of that amount of people in working labor force, working in those three areas, in health, education, and security, they pay almost half of what this 250 million. They have 250,000 people. 250,000 people works. Generate income taxes in Puerto Rico. That's how massive the tax incentive is for these people. And I would like to have a tax incentive for everybody. That's one of the main reasons why I'm in politics. If a millionaire can come here and take advantage of a reduced tax rate of 4%, well, right now I'm paying between 20 to 25%. I'll take advantage of a 4%. I can take advantage of that. I will be happy to pay 4%. But then you have the left, the people, the parties in the left, which is now the Colon Alliance, and this is the second part of the parties. These two people, the party who promote independence and the party who is promoting some citizen victory, they're just lefty socialists. They want to get rid of that. Why? Because they just don't like people who make money. That's all. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not even close to even being a millionaire. You know what? I'm not even considering myself middle class. I don't think I can qualify as a middle class. I don't know the exact range, but I'm certainly not a middle class. We need to use that to get to do the majority of the stuff that I do, even running this campaign. And trust me, believe me, I will take advantage of a 4% reduced tax rate if I can. I will take it any day of the year. Now, in order to do that, we need to decrease the size of government. That's one of the major offers of our party. Our party, the Proyecto Dignidad party, is the only party who is proposing doing a redoing the government to make that engine works properly. And I'm sorry if my translation doesn't make any sense, but what I'm trying to say is that the government who is offering to reduce the size of the government, in order for the people to get better, a reduced tax rate, and to incentive people to go to work, having the government facilitate the bureaucracy, to try to eliminate the bureaucracy in order for people to go into business and to create new business and stuff, is the Proyecto Dignidad party. The people who promote statehood, all that they have in mind is just statehood. That's what they have promised. They have promised for almost 60 years. The statehood is probably more far away than ever before in our lifetime. Why? Because we are in a bankruptcy situation. The Congress, the U.S. Congress, is not going to accept a territory. First of all, it's not an incorporated territory. It's a non-incorporated territory. That was a sui generis term that the U.S. Supreme Court came in order to explain the Puerto Rican relationship with the federal government and with the state. But again, the U.S. Congress is not going to pass a bill or to accept a bill accepting a territory heavily debt. In the history of the U.S., yes, colonies and territories after the original 13 colonies, territories are being known to be in a kind of a depressed economic situation, and part of the process of accepting a territory into the state and being a statehood is that the federal government, the other states, put money together to help this new territory that became a statehood to for this territory to become a state on their own. But that is one thing, to put money to help the state to go up and put this territory in their own 2 feet, and another thing is to pay all their debt. Those are two separate issues. And right now, it's going to be like 80 years for Puerto Rico getting federal money, and now we are in a bankruptcy. And the bankruptcy has two major foundation. The first one is that the federal government grants any business and any bonds and any issue of debt in Puerto Rico. They issue those bonds, and they allow a triple exemption, meaning that you were exempt for tax payment on the federal, state, and municipal level. That's one. The second one has been the Puerto Rican political elective officials who violated our own constitution in order to issue debt to go, for any infrastructure, whatever they were trying to whatever they were trying to offer. You can make an analysis. I don't have the time now to make an analysis of which government, which administration issued the debt for infrastructure, and which administration issued the debt for social costs that didn't have any return of investment. And the other, because they invest in infrastructure, they may have a better return of investment. That's not the problem. The problem is that the government has no business trying to deciding which economic activities has better return of investment, because the return of investment is for the private sector to decide it. They are the one who may lose the money. The government has no business trying to decide which economic activity has better return of investment, because they don't have the skin in the game in order to realize, in order to take the losses if they do the wrong thing, if they take the wrong decision, if they do the wrong decision. So return of investment, and the concept of having a return of investment is something for the private sector to do, not for the government. The government doesn't have any money, don't create any money. They just take the money from the people who work, and it's not your money to put into risks. When you put into risks your own money, You take better decision, better informed decision. What is the money of somebody else? You don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I didn't want to say a bad thing, but anyway, I said it already. You don't give bananas about that because it's not your money. It's somebody else's money paying. And again, I don't have the time now to explain why those people violated our own constitution and why um, they haven't faced their time in court for doing that. In one of the reasons is because one of the Supreme Court, Puerto Rico Supreme Court decisions allow for the political elected official to do that type of financial business, and basically is right now this election is about the left and the right, socialist public policy or capitalist public policy. And the people in the center, there's a one party who is the party with the status quo, which is the party who I would not say created because they didn't create it, but they were the party at the time in 1948 who were in negotiations with the Congress to establish the actual territorial clause that and the relationship that we have with the federal government, with the U.S. And they have been part of the problem. They have been really big part of the problem, even though at some point when they work through merits, to choose people by merits, to put people by merits in different positions, in key positions there, things were going well, but they never let go. They never lose the power of the government to control the economic variables in Puerto Rico. Mostly because the current government we have in Puerto Rico, is a creation of an economist who was part of the New Deal of flanking FDR, flanking Delano Roosevelt, and you all know there was a most heavily, they call it now social democrats, social democracy or something like that. But it was a heavy, it was heavy it was the government heavily invested in the economical variables. And if you want to show what the New Deal's public policy outcome has been in the long run, just look at Puerto Rico and their own public policy, and you'll see the results. These are the results. That's why basically I favor the Republican Party in the U.S. And even with this law that happened today, I'm in favor of Donald Trump on top of Kamala Harris. Disastrous and fatidic public policies. Anyway, one of the other topic is, we have here people from different parts of Europe that also have lived through socialism, and they knew what happened during the lockdowns 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago. They were really sad. They always said Puerto Rican have no idea what it is to live in a socialist environment. That is part of the whole discussion. It's socialism started as a good idea, and a new idea in the concept. It's collective. We're all going to be together. We're all going to end up in a really disastrous situation. And part of the problem that's happening now, suffering in the States, is because of those socialist public policy. This is the other part. People will say, "No, how can you say it's a socialist state when you have people taking advantage of the government, people being rich by taking advantage of the business with the government?" Well, isn't that capitalism? No, it's not capitalism. It's not free market. In the moment the government favors somebody for somebody to become rich at the expense of the government, in that same moment, it stopped to being a capitalist free market policy. It's mostly socialist policy. That's how it is. That's the concept. That's not me trying to say something derogatory or whatever. That's the whole concept. That's the whole thing. Free market and capitalism is for people freely trading with each other, and the government is just to put the law and order that those people put in place together. Not for the government to take the money in the way of income taxes and then decided which fields they are going to favor. There are urgent matters that the government always keep the power from when we have our own integrity, physical integrity, in dangers. If somebody threatens us, if there's a war or something like that, they can take over everything because they are in that type of stress situation. But taking money from San Juan to help people in Mayagüez to have a better medical facility, that's not capitalism. Just to make an example, that's not capitalism. We need to, the government can say people in Mayagüez need a facility, at the same level that you guys has in San Juan, and how can we do that? And then in Mayagüez, there's somebody who said, well, I can make this facility for X amount of money. And then we can put the amount of money together and let's do it. But if the government do it, they're going to hire a friend or a family or whatever. The price is set up because the demand is set up. The person doesn't have to gain a business. The business is already there. Therefore, the price is going to be up. I didn't have the time to explain where I come from. I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse with a bachelor degree in nursing. I work in hospital for 7 years. I work as a home nurse for 2.5 years, and I have been working as a medical coding as a medical coder for health insurance for about 16 years now. And right now, my job is to make audits, clinical validation audits for health insurance. And now I'm using those knowledge to help healthcare providers, meaning medical doctors, hospitals, and medical groups. So part of my job has been analyzing how can I help the medical groups and healthcare provider to get the proper amount of reimbursement from the health insurance, because before that I was making sure the health insurance get the proper amount of reimbursement from the government. So the health insurance is like the link in the middle. People think that the health insurance control the health. Health is not controlled by the health insurance company. They're just part of the equation. They need to be oversight. They need to be a proper oversight and reviewing of those health insurance practice. But the main reason why Puerto Rico has having challenges in terms of health service is because the private sector has been damaged in the last 25 years, I would say. Since the remove of the tax incentive for manufacturers, there was a section in the U.S. Federal Code 936 who allows the offshoring, the offshoring and manufacturing of pharmaceuticals in Puerto Rico back in the late 70s and the 80s. People have a lot of money. I mean, the government has a lot of money because one of the requirements is that the money that all those manufacturers company are putting in Puerto Rico, they have to put it in Puerto Rican banks. So the banks will full with money. Municipality have lots of money. The government has lots of money. But what did they do? They didn't create a free market environment so can people uh, be willing to enterprise themselves and create business and help each other. No, they create a big government. They create a big government. There's like 3 or 4 generations already of people dependent on government. Government subsidizes, and once you are dependent on government, it's really hard to get out of it. And I also know about that at first hand. That's right, Samuel. RFK Jr. on his endorsement for Trump explained it really well why he left the Democrat Party uh, for the Republican Party. So yeah, the only salvation for conservative values or for Christian values is the values that are defended by the Republicans. Not all Republicans. There are some Republicans there that act like Democrats. Specifically, our one of the candidates for governor. Actually, she's the candidate for the statehood party. She's been the resident commissioner for Puerto Rico in the U.S. Congress for 8 years, and she basically has not been able to make a proper caucus with the Republicans. All she has done is doing really good um, friendship with the Democrats. Those are the facts, and she's trying to portray herself as a conservative, and that she's defending conservative value. I don't buy it. I don't see it. There are a lot of Christians and conservatives in Puerto Rico who are seeing it like that. Are a lot of them also are in favor of statehood, no matter what. I'm in favor of statehood. I don't have any problem being part of the union. I think the constitutional republic experiment made by the founding fathers back in 1776, and then with the constitution they approved in 1789, has been the most successful socio-economical experiment in mankind in all those 5,000 years of experience. With all the flaws, it's still the most successful one. The fact that you have a constitution who put a limit on the power of the government and allow people to be free to manage themselves, to associate themselves, to look for the people themselves, to look for solution between themselves, is the best way, that the most truthful way to live the Christian values, because then it allows Christian people to actually do the good to the other to our other human beings, neighbors, citizens, everyone. And they have done doing so for so many years. It's just now that all this big government expending on printing money, which is part of the problem that we have now with the all the inflation problem that we have now, that the Democrat has been using to fuel their political agenda, because they don't have a political agenda. They don't have a proper economical agenda for the U.S. All they have is to sell emotions and to tell the people you cannot do it for yourself. Let me do it for you. But guess what? They are going to do it for a price. They're not going to do it for free. That's the main part of the story. And prison number one and prison number two has a certain amount of people, English-speaking people, in San Juan. Those people have been suffering from problem with security. They don't feel safe. Security is a big part of our offer as a party for the Puerto Ricans in this election. Our governor candidate Javier Jimenez, he is putting, he's a CPA. He practiced CPA for 21 years before getting into government. He has been the mayor of San Sebastian for 20 years with fiscal responsibility. No troubles in there. All the problems, the controller, Puerto Rico controller office have been doing countless of investigation, countless of review, all with an excellent marks. And he's a free buy. He's a free market. He's a free market guy. He knows how to handle finance, public finance, and one of the main troubles in Puerto Rico is that we need to put people back to work. That's the whole thing. We need to review and to measure how is this expansion of a state agency that we have. We have like California has, I don't know, 50 million people and just 20 government agency or 21 or 25 or 30 or something like that. Puerto Rico has just 3 million, 3.3, 3.2, 3.3 million people, and we got over 100 agencies and corporation, public corporation attached to the executive government. And as you may imagine, the majority of them doesn't work. I'll say the majority of them because, of course, there's always an agency or a corporation that the government puts their own emphasis, and that is completely natural. But the majority of them doesn't work. I mean, all these women defensive whatever or the defensive of the patient, of the defenses of the the people who are looking out for patients, all this agency, the alimony for kids, and then agency for socio-economical families, race or whatever. All these things simply do not work. That's plain and simple, do not work. I want to get in there because also communities are also relying on representatives to go to the legislative assembly and then discuss how many money they can take for the communities and how much money I can take for my community. For what? Well, I need to buy microwave, or I need to put lights in residence, or I need to do there's a baseball team who needs a tractor for cutting the grass in the field. Like, really? And then when you look out, there is a club who has been in business, in operation for almost 40, 45 years. And proudly they said, I don't have any doubt that what they said is true, but proudly they said, we have raised people and baseball players and people, citizens, star A citizens, and, citizens that are an example of our teaching there. Well, didn't you teach them how to give back a little bit to their own community? How can the people not get it together to help those teams in which they grew up and help them to be better people and better person? And again, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm sure it's true. I'm sure it is true. I don't have any problem to give some of the money to all the basketball team that I play with. They don't ask for that money, of course, because they get money from the government. If you raise all these players and fantastic baseball players and all these people that are so well versed and they got educated and they're a good example, which again, I'm sure it is true. I have no doubt that it is true. That's what sports mainly do. Well, why don't you get them together so they don't forget about the roots? You know in which place they do that, which places they do that, mostly in the States. In the majorities in the States, all these sport clubs and stuff they run with the money of their own people in their own neighborhood, and they take pride of that. It's a pride that if I played baseball here. Well, I never make it to the pro. I never was a pro player. But hey, I got a good scholarship because I played baseball. Because this good teacher, this good manager for baseball team, his teaching was more than baseball. It was also about life, and I'm so happy that I was able to go to college and to have an education, to have a career, and I have a career. Okay, I moved to the other state, but this is where I grew up. So I'm gonna send some money there. I don't know, 25, 20, 25, $40 or 25 a membership, $25 a month, or I don't know, once a year, or you send $100, check about $100 once a year to this. This is your roots. This is your old neighbor. and they take pride of that. They put it in their own expenses when they look for the budget in the year. They know they have to put a part on that. Why can't we do that here? And the people in the communities here, they need to get together. They need to organize themselves, but most importantly, they need to organize themselves in order to be self-sustaining. They have to get more self-sustaining than ever before. Puerto Rico cannot go with that path again of just spending money that we don't have, spending money that we can create, spending money that other people are going to pay, because it's not going to work. We already tried that one. It's already gave us the bankruptcy we are now, and that's part of the major message that we're trying to send here. In any opportunity that they gave us, and right now I'm using this. God bless that I have the opportunity to speak to you through the internet and through this live stream. All right. Well, guys, I think it's going to be all for now, or for tonight. I mean, I could be go on for a longer time, but I'm sure my English. I hope my English doesn't confuse you enough that you can understand. But feel free to write me, and if you need a clarification on anything that I said, feel free to write me a message, write me through my social media, and I'll be happy to respond to you. And remember, just one thing I said this in Spanish in any of my broadcasts, and I'm gonna say it again. If we strengthen the individuals, we're gonna strengthen the family. If we strengthen the family, we strengthen the community. It will strengthen the community. It will strengthen the municipality. It will strengthen the municipality. We will strengthen the party, state, or territory. Okay. God bless you all. I'll see you on the next one, and probably the next one is going to be in Spanish mostly. But if you want me to do another one in English, don't feel shy to write me at any time, and I'll be happy to do it. Thank you very much. God bless you. See you next time. Bye for now.